I recently visited my mum and her partner at their home in rural Ireland, and I was amazed to see the work that had been done to start healing the land and bringing wildlife back to the space. Over the last few years, she's planted over 700 trees on boggy, wet farmland, and already the worms, bees, and butterflies have begun to return. She thinks this isn't interesting at all and no one will be interested in seeing, but I really felt it important for me to share the amazing work that she's been doing and for others to hear the way that she talks about nature. I asked if she could give us a tree tour, so we walked around the 4 acres of land and she showed me what trees had been planted. I really hope you enjoy this video. Please leave a comment if you did and feel free to subscribe. I'll be making a lot more videos just like this.
This is a 1.5 acre field, and when we got here it was grass and rushes. It was very compacted because all it's had on has been cattle for years. And it's probably been sprayed, you know, to keep the weeds down, the rushes down. And so when we were digging to put our trees in, and there was just water. It was very, very waterlogged. So you dig a hole to put a tree in and it would fill up before your eyes with water. And I have to say, it was quite disheartening. And the other thing that was very disheartening was there wasn't a bug to be seen anywhere. No worms, nothing. So you just kind of think, well, if we don't do anything with it, like put anything on and let nature recover, then hopefully the insects and the worms will come back again. And I could show you down the front in the bigger field at the front of the house how that is actually happening. The worms have returned in abundance, to the point where when I'm working down there, I have to sneak out the house because the hens will see me in action and they'll be like coming to eat them all. And I don't want that to happen. They have enough of their own food. Slowly the ground is healing. So yes, all these trees are in, and they are all native trees. Well, the majority are native trees. There are the odd exception, and I couldn't help it because some trees are just so beautiful. You want to get in as many as you can, but on the whole, 99% of the trees are native trees. And so there are the willow and the alder, which adore wet ground, because what I worried about was planting all these trees and then them not to thrive. I think that would have been quite a shame. And from a climate point of view, pointless, because they're just going to cause more damage eventually. So you want whatever you put in there to be a good aspect to the environment.
So what trees have you planted on here? Do you want to show us some?
On this 1.5 acre plot, there are a few different types of willow. There's like a purple willow and white willow, goat willow, grey willow, and there are, in this field there's approximately 50 alder, which are the ones that love the wet ground, but they will help to dry it, and you'll get the leaves that will fall, and that will increase the soil and cover for bugs and the like. So there's the willow and the alder, oak trees, and quite a few different types of fir we've put in. Sycamore, we've put 1 or 2 of them in, even though I know people don't really like them. They are, you either love them or you hate them, and I know they're bad for horses, but we haven't got horses, so we didn't need to worry about that. What other trees have we put in? Downy birch, they are a fan of wet ground. I did accidentally put in some silver birch, which don't really like wet ground too much, but the ones that we have put in haven't done too badly. They've held their leaves and you can see there's some growth on them. So I'm hoping that we haven't done any harm by putting in the silver birch. And I can't help but doing this because when something gets pruned, I end up with a load of sticks, and sometimes these sticks root really, really well. So here you can see a little willow that was just a stick, and then I've poked in the ground here. And it's absolutely incredible for the butterflies and the moths. I mean, a grown oak will have 400 or so different insects and fungi and whatever living off it. So it's providing such a habitat in its own little right, that one little oak tree. But there's all sorts here, and these little catkins, these little seeds, the the birds go crazy for them and the butterflies go crazy for them. And even though it's only April and it's still cold, there's already, you can see there's things flying around. And they haven't been in very long. Some of these have only been in a year. And they've already doubled in height. What I do need to do is get round and clear some of the grass, because the trees, you know, that's competition for nutrients. So I will have to get round and put some cardboard down, some mulch and some grass cuttings on top to keep the weeds at bay, which is a huge task. And I know it looks probably a little bit of a mess. It's not your neat manicured lawn, but from a nature point of view it looks much better. But there are flowers appearing, little wild flowers, and I will try and get some photographs of them later on when they come along, because we had quite a few last year. And when you consider this was just a rushy, wet, trampled on field, I think it's pretty good going for a year. I can't remember all of the names, and when you buy trays they're all in Latin, so I'm like having this Latin lesson every time. I have to go back in the house and like remind myself what was that Latin name in English. Because everybody knows what an oak tree is, or a sycamore tree is, or a birch, but you know, this one here is a sweet chestnut, but its name is a Castanea sativa, which is, you know, I wouldn't know it as that. And that's only been in a couple of months, but it seems to be budding and holds its own, and it looks like it's going to be quite a sturdy tree when it gets going. And I'm sure there'll come a day when we're sitting around a fire eating its chestnuts.
That'd be nice.
Somebody will, because you know, you don't plant a tree for you unless you're very, very young. And at my age, I'm not going to see them mature.
Oh, don't say that.
No, but this is true.
Well, none of will be here for the length of time of these oak trees.
But to see them like, you know, where you could give them a proper hug and not actually touch your fingers, kind of hug.
Yeah.
Which is fine, because you're planting for the future, and yeah, which I think is important. So, and I do have this love of these little firs. So, and there's a few different types, and I only had 4 at the moment, but I've had to put them all together just because I just think as they grow up, and they're going to have all these different shapes, different colours to them, just being together like this, I just think they're going to be amazing. And they're just strokeable.
Strokeable.
Look, they make you want to stroke it.
Yeah.
We need to get more strokes in with our trees, I think.
Agreed.
More hugs.
I always make a point of hugging trees.
Yeah.
And the size of this willow though.
This has been a year in, what's that been in now? Nearly 2 years. And this tree was about yay high. And now it is a sturdy little thing. And this is just amazing. And how big it's getting already. Yeah. And I do remember this last year getting a lot of its leaves eaten by some type of moth, a caterpillar. But I'm sure that's a happy, well-fed caterpillar. This is what we're contending with.
Yeah. Quite wet.
Yeah.
So what have you done on this field?
In this field we planted lots of trees. I couldn't even count how many. Well, partly I can. These are little spindle. There's 100 in staggered rows all the way up. There's a row of downy birch and rowan as well. And then of course you've got all the daffodils, and there'll be other bulbs come up later on in the year. And there'll be borders, so that'll be all cottage flowers, foxgloves and verbena and whatever, calendula, big daisies, all puffy willows, and the bees found it immediately. It was incredible.
Baby oak tree.
Yeah.
I hope you enjoyed this video. If there's anything else you want to see about the trees or the land, please let me know and I can make another video going into a little bit more detail. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a really great rest of the day.